what? It is nearly Christmas. It is Monday the 13th of December today, and I've come down to Greenwich actually to do a little bit of Christmas shopping, but I couldn't resist popping down onto the foreshore to see if I could find anything because the tide is low and I just so happen to have my boots in the car. Here we are, so I popped my boots on and I've come down here just to have a little look around before I go Christmas shopping to a very special place actually, and I'm going to take you there with me, but I'll tell you about that shortly. First of all, let's have a little rummage around in the mud. I do enjoy unwrapping my presents from the Thames mud. I've had so many this year, so many beautiful gifts from the river. Let's see if we can find a few more before the end of the year. Oh, over there I see a nice marble. Can you see it? Here it is. A lovely cod marble, cod bottle marble. That will make a lovely fish eye. And by the way, I shall be doing a Christmas giveaway, and it will be one of my glass fish. Thanks very much to Wreck Diver, who has donated this fish, which I made, to be given away. So thank you very much, Wreck Diver, and it won't be this week, but it will be probably the Christmas weekend that I'm going to do it. So make sure that you tune in for that. Now, I think I've seen something over here quite exciting. Here it is, look. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that that is a comb, and a knit comb at that. At least that part is for knits, and this part, well, I think there must be some teeth missing because they're very far apart, aren't they? But that must be for the hair. And that is really beautiful, insofar as knit combs can be beautiful. In terms of age, this could be really old. I mean, it could be Tudor, it could be older. I don't know, I'm going to have to do my research on that. I know lots of other mudlarks who have found knit combs like this, so I think I shall call upon their knowledge. That is a great find. I've never found one of these, and to be honest, I've always wanted to, so this is really special. I'll have to make sure that I preserve it properly, because the thing is, when it gets home it's going to dry out and fall apart, isn't it? So again, I'm going to see what the other mudlarks have done when they found their knit combs. This is a hefty chunk of comb, isn't it? Wow, what a great find! Time to explore the history of knits and the history of knit combs. There's been some really pelting rain recently, and so this area of foreshore is just looking really battered but clean. So I'm really hoping there's going to be a few bits and pieces to find. That looks like a button, doesn't it? I think that could be a general service button, but I'll be able to see a little bit better when I get home. Good old button. You can always rely on button finds. Let's continue looking along here. Look, there's a little bottle down here, maybe a poison bottle. Oh look, it's got an anchor on the bottom. at that. Maybe something that was in a naval bathroom cabinet on a ship. Oh, here's a spoon right on the surface, but trapped in some cruddiness. Get it out of there. Well, there we are, look. It's a bit out of shape. Ye old spoon. There's plenty of those around. Well, it started to get dark, despite the fact that it's just after 3 o'clock. It gets dark so early now, so luckily I had my headlamp in my bag. And I've seen a coin down there. Here it is, look. Probably George, or maybe Victoria. Let's give it a little rinse off. Oh, I think it's Victoria. Yeah, I think so, unless it's Queen Elizabeth. Well, I think it's time to go and do a little bit of Christmas shopping. I haven't found a great deal on this outing, but what I have found is absolutely fantastic. The Thames has given me a knit comb. Now, what more could a girl wish for? I can't wait to find out more about it. Hi everyone, thank you very much for watching and welcome to my studio. I hope that you're all really well and in fine spirits and good health, and that if you celebrate Christmas, your Christmas preparations are going well. Mine are going not too badly, despite the fact that I only just recently realised that Christmas is just around the corner. I'm supposed to be going away to spend Christmas with my family, and so hopefully that will all happen, and I've done a little bit of Christmas shopping. And before I take you on a visit to the fabulous Greenwich junk shop, where I do like to go occasionally to get some shopping, I'm going to talk to you about some of my finds which featured on today's video. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't think I had a great deal to talk to you about because it was a very short outing, and also because the finds seemed to be quite small and insignificant, apart from the knit comb, which I just think is absolutely brilliant and I'm delighted that I found. But it's easy to take small and seemingly insignificant finds for granted, and when I came home yesterday and put some of my finds on Twitter, notably the crusty little button, I came up with some really interesting info on it that I wanted to share with you. So let me go ahead and do that. And first of all, I'm just going to start with this fragment of wooden comb, which could date to between the 16th and 18th centuries, but I'm veering towards the Tudor era. I found a very similar one on the Portable Antiquities Scheme database, but also it's very, very similar to the photographs of the knit combs which were recovered from the wreck of the Mary Rose, King Henry VIII's flagship, which sunk in 1545. Obviously, there was a huge problem aboard ships with nits, with all the sailors in very close proximity, and so each of them would have had their own personal knit comb to keep on their person. And so I'm thinking this one could be Tudor. As you can see, it sort of, well, it's very, very similar to the knit comb designs of today, because I suppose that's the most effective design there is. And it's made of wood. It's probably boxwood, and I need to know how to preserve it. So I did actually contact my friends Monica Butling-Smith and Liz Anderson to get some advice on what they've done with the combs that they've found in the past. And so I've been advised to soak it in water for about a month to get the salts out and keep changing the water. And then afterwards I could use SP11 or ethanol, or I could freeze dry it. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I need to look into all those different methods. And I also need to clean it very, very gently with a soft brush. As you can see here, it's fresh out of the mud, so it's still got mud on all the teeth. And who knows, maybe there's 1 or 2 Tudor nits in there too. The ones which they recovered from the Mary Rose, some of them did have dead nits in the teeth. And I don't know about you, but my head is itching just thinking about them. So now let's move on to this button here, which when it was languishing in the Thames mud didn't look particularly impressive. I actually thought that it might be a general service badge, but when I got home I soaked it in some lemon juice and gave it a clean, and I realised it wasn't. I wasn't sure what it was. I thought it might have been from the Travellers Club actually, because I thought I could see like a gladiator's head on there. But I put it on Twitter, and I have to advise you that if you ever want something ID'd, it's always a good idea to put it on Twitter, because there are so many experts on there who know just about everything about anything. So I put it on there, and well, funnily actually, a lot of people thought I was posting a picture of some newly baked sourdough bread, but of course on closer examination they realised it was a button. And it wasn't very long before people came back to me and said, that is a button from the Artists' Rifles Regiment. And actually what we can see on this button are the gods Mars and Minerva. So let me tell you a little bit about the Artists' Rifles. The Artists' Rifles Regiment was established in 1859 by an art student called Edward Sterling, and comprised professional painters, musicians, actors, architects and other creative individuals. The unit's badge and this button shows the Roman gods Mars and Minerva. The regiment was disbanded in 1945. I'd like to mention 2 men who served in the Artists' Rifles, and thank you to Fiona Allen and the Men of Worth Project CIC for telling me about them. This is Charles North, Fiona's uncle. He died on 28th of August 1918. Fiona and her family visited his grave 100 years later. And this is Private Davis Welby. He died aged 43 on the 23rd of October 1918. There's a memorial to the Artists' Rifles who died in World War I at the Royal Academy of Arts in London. And lastly, here's this lovely coin here, in really good condition actually, with Queen Victoria there, the old Queen Victoria. This coin dates to 1896, and every time I see a coin on the Thames foreshore, I wonder who dropped it, whose pocket had a hole in it. Did that person go hungry? It's been languishing in the Thames for well over 100 years, and the last person who touched it was the person who lost it or threw it in the river. But on the subject of Queen Victoria, did you know that Queen Victoria and her husband Prince Albert helped to make Christmas trees very popular? In this 1848 engraving, we see Queen Victoria and the royal family decorating a Christmas tree. Well, the custom caught on, and the rest is history. And talking about Christmas and Christmas trees, let's go shopping. So I'm here with Tobias, who is the owner of this fabulous Greenwich junk shop. And Tobias is also a mudlark, and he's going to tell us a little bit about that. But Tobias, how long have you had this amazing junk shop?
Well, it all started off with my parents back in the 60s. And we're actually 4 generations of the same family running the same business, probably the oldest family business in Greenwich now. So my mother and father started, and at a time when antiques were much more available and house clearances was our main thing. My grandmother worked with my parents and she ran one of our shops. I followed footstep when I left school early because I didn't like school, and I like junk and I like antiques. So I came to work with my dad when I was 15, and now my stepson and my son, who has a unit downstairs, they work around the shop as well. So we've been here since the 60s.
I've always thought whenever I come here, it's a little bit like the process of mudlarking, but not out in the elements, because you never know what treasures you're going to turn up. And how long were you mudlarking for, or how long have you been mudlarking for?
I used to swim in the Thames when I was a child.
Did you? You swam in the Thames?
Oh, yeah, I swam across the Thames. I mean, I've always loved the Thames, so I've been in the Thames and in the mud all my life. Since I was probably about 8. I've taken my kids to swim in the Thames, and my stepkids come to swim in the Thames. I mean, the Thames is quite a clean river now. It really is. Fairly recently I picked up, which I thought were Neolithic, and I've now found these are Paleolithic tools. Mm-hmm. This is a grinder for breaking up nuts, and that's why you've got this dull, it's not a blade on this one, you've got these dull areas which are used for crushing. But along the same stretch, which is between the Cutty-Sark and Deptford Creek, I found on a different day this which slots into your hand in a beautiful way, and this would have been a sharp blade. Obviously it's rolled around for thousands of years in the Thames and the tides, and it hasn't been sharpened for a long, long time, but that would have been very sharp. I mean, if I was to do that, I would probably cut my wrist. So that's a cutting for cutting leather, or for cutting anything. And then the other one I found on the same stretch it's like an awl, and again it's been napped out to form a lovely grip. My thumb goes in there, and this again would have been a lot longer and sharper, and that would have been for boring holes in leather, so you could maybe make clothing and stitch it together with strips of thin leather you've cut with this, and then that would be a lace to sew up a tunic. And then the leather front where you'd lace it up. On the front they'd use this as an awl to make the holes. So that's a toolkit really, which I found scattered along one section of the Thames. I didn't find these in the Thames.
They're huge. Look at those oyster shells, they're massive.
I hate them. I cook a lot.
Gosh, they are. I don't think I've ever seen an oyster that size.
These are South Pacific, not the Thames. I bought 2 of them for £5 in Deptford Market, and I did a bisque. I have over here a footprint which I purchased, but it came from a dealer. And this is, I'll just move a couple of bits so you can get a little idea. This is, as far as I gather, it's a footprint of an iguanodon, and it's a dinosaur footprint.
Wow, a dinosaur footprint.
It's a 3-toed. And you can see the impression there. This would have been a sandy residue on the riverbank. So there's things like that which I do pick up. I collect because I just find very interesting. But this room contains things to do with taxidermy as well. I mean, I've done taxidermy. The fish over here I ate for supper the other day.
Oh, really?
And then I dried it.
Oh gosh, so you actually did that?
Yeah, I just dried it. I mean, I ate it. It wasn't the most tasty of fish actually. It looks more tasty like that than it did on a plate. So with that in this room, there's various things which, like the mummified cats, which is, I've come across. There's another one up the top corner there. Here I've got a Tibetan death mask, which was a mask in a village up in Tibet. These masks are made of yak skin, but stretched over the corpse's face.
Oh my goodness.
They're pinned through the nose and then stretched around the side of the corpse. I mean, they're very creepy looking things.
Oh, that really is creepy.
But this is the actual image of an elder in a Nepalese village or town. Pre-photographs and that to make an image of him so people could remember him. In the altitude up there, the body could probably lay for a month or two without rotting, letting the yak skin shrink to the face, and then the body, that could be taken off and hung in the huts. And the body could be then cremated. That's not for sale. This is some of my creepy curios. Indoors, I've actually got a real mummy's hand, a real Egyptian mummy's hand with the fingernails on it and everything. And that's my collection indoors is very much like this.
Yeah, and it's things that people used to love and care about. You know, there's something about finding something in a shop like this that somebody's loved and had for their whole life, and then it's kind of nice to give it a new home.
I think that's, you know, I mean, also if you think it's recycling as well. I mean, you know, people are being so green nowadays.
Yeah.
So much stuff was just destroyed, and this is the ultimate recycling depot. And this is a very unusual thing because it's a marble top table which has a little burner here.
Oh, yes.
And you can stew your tea, and then you tip it and pour it into a cup.
Oh, brilliant.
And mounted above it, this would have been an oil lamp, which has been converted. This is probably a one-off and was probably made, I think, for the Great Empire Exhibition of 1851. A one-off piece which would have been on a stand in the Crystal Palace for the Empire Exhibition to show off what we can make. So when people travelled from all over the world to this exhibition, there were certain stands of different traders, from Dalton and pottery to metalwork. And this item, even the burner, which you put methylated spirits in, you'll see it's never even been used. You unscrew this at the top, and the wick is still white. And that would be the methylated spirits. So there's one curio which I picked up.
Yeah, so that's actually part of the table.
It is a tea table.
That is brilliant, a tea table.
A Victorian solid brass tea table with a marble top. Then this is a very similar thing. This turned up in a boot fair. At first glance, I didn't quite understand it. I've since later looked them up. And it's actually a tea warmer. Her little hat here would have had a ribbon on it, so you could put tea inside this buxom lady, and she would stand guard, put the lid back in, your tea, you'd have a night light in here, little holes at the side allow smoke out, and when you've booed away for long enough, you keep your finger on the top, you lift her up and pour out of the spout in the top of her hair. And she's also, she's guarding. And she's guarding her 3 children, 4 children, who are tucked away behind her. And I know now this is probably around 1820 or something like that. It's a little damaged, but it's a teapot which is literally sits on its back. This little flap here lifts up to put in your boiling water and tea. And then when you were happy, it was brewed, you'd pick the handle up and then just stand it upright and it would pour into your cup. But these are sort of things which I find just like proper curios.
Oh
lizard wine.
Lizard wine. Glass of lizard wine, anyone? I love the squirrel. I have a squirrel that visits me at home. He comes and sits on my windowsill and I put nuts out the cat flap for him. And he actually takes them from my hand. So that squirrel there kind of reminds me of my squirrel.
Yeah, this is just how you wind a cuckoo clock. This is a lovely little Swiss wooden one. I have the 2 varieties. One handmade, you pull these little chains, you lift the fir cone up there like that. And you pull this one up there. That means I've charged the cuckoo and I've wound the clock. Now if I just wind this on a little bit, we'll see the cuckoo come out from up here. But we'll give them another go, and as it does, the weights will come down because they power. There you go. It's a noisy little cuckoo, that one. Yeah. I think you're going to get 12 cuckoos now, by the way, because I just put it past 12 o'clock. So that is totally electronic. This is rather a naughty little marionette.
Oh, let's
It's
see.
from, I think, Indonesia, yeah, and here she is in all her glory.
Oh, I don't. Oh, yes.
She has these fantastic fingers, and jointed fingers, you see, like all beautifully built out of wood. And then she's got these lovely wooden tits. Wouldn't it be funny if a woman had a wooden tit? Wouldn't it be funny? Do you remember that song? Wouldn't it?
Only from you singing.
But I found that behind a picture. Look at that soap there.
Oh gosh, yeah.
This is pre-First World War, and I found it behind this amazing picture here. This was a backing. There's a beautiful advert for soaps.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got, you know, the carbolic, you've got telegraph soap, which would have been like the most modern thing around. You've got the magical soap, you've got the wheel soap. The swastika used to be a sign of good luck before it was adopted by the Nazis in the First World War.
That's right.
So that is totally taboo. But a lovely find to find that as a backing.
Yes, oh my
But
goodness.
this amazing suspension bridge. It's got a gondolier, and I've got to try and work out where this is. So this huge metal structure
Oh, yes.
holds a gondolier. So you'd walk along here and get in this thing, and it's hanging from wires, and that would cross. So I've got to do some research, because it's a primitive picture, but it's quite historic. Probably built by Brunel or someone, do you know what I mean? It's but that concealed that.
Yeah, it's always worth looking behind pictures, isn't
Yeah, you
it?
just don't know. I mean, they cleverly put holes straight through the lovely poster so they can hang it. Hang that. Everyone wants to buy this one. They can buy the wooden one, but I'm not selling that one. And then it does a really terrible tacky thing after the cuckoo's done 12. Come on, cook. Look. And then it sings a song. And it turns the old mill wheel. And the water dribbles down. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas!
Oh, look, I've just found in this teacup another mummified creature. That's a duck.
A duck?
A baby duck.
Oh my gosh, a baby duck.
A duckling.
Would you like a duckling with your tea, madam? Yes, you found a bomb and then you brought it back and put it out in the yard.
Yes, I rolled it up with a bang. I mean, it obviously wasn't exploded.
Right.
Because it wasn't all in bits, but I mean, it had been in the river since the Second World War, and foolishly, I suppose, I chucked it in the back of my truck and put it back in the yard here. It was only, I suppose, about a week later when I thought I'd better do something about it. Someone's going to kick it, and something might happen. So we did call in. I called in this amazing man like Captain Invincible, who was the bomb squad. He came flying in here, all bomb jackets and handsome, and did acrobatics, flew past the coppers who came down first of all to make sure I really had a bomb, who were all hiding behind my bag. He came zipping through, had a little look at the bomb and assessed that it wasn't a sweaty bomb. So he bounced back out again, got his bomb box, which they have to put these things in case it did go off in the back of his shiny Range Rover, and removed it for safe disposal. Maybe next time I'll leave it on the beach if I find a bomb.
Yeah, you just never know what you're going to find in the Thames. A bit like your shop. And now I'm actually going to go and have a little look because I need to get some Christmas presents. can see here a book that Simon might like. This could be the perfect present for him. What do you think? The Book of Bottle Collecting. I wonder if he's got it. Simon is coming around to do some filming. We're going to be filming a bit of a Christmas special. And so, oh wow, look at that onion bottle. So I think this is the perfect gift for him. How can people find out more about your shop? You've got a website, haven't you?
I've got a website, yes. I mean, basically, it's Tobias the Spread Eagle at gmail.com. If you look that up, you should find some of the antics I've been up to over the years. My claim to fame, there's a few little bits of being a so-called expert on bargain hunt when it first started with the lovely David Dickinson. I've done a bit. But I surprise myself sometimes when I suddenly thought, oh, I forgot to put that up there or tuck this away here. So it's a never-ending story.
I'm sure it is. And if there was something that you could find on the Thames foreshore that you haven't found yet, do you have something that you would really love to find?
I wouldn't mind finding something, a bit of bronze, Roman bronze or something like that.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that visit. I could spend absolutely hours in that shop, and I've been looking at this book. I hope Simon enjoys it. I hope he hasn't already got it. I've actually been looking to see if I can find any information about this little bottle here, and that's what I'm going to do this evening. I think I'm going to read this book before I wrap it up to present it to Simon when I see him later on this week. So don't forget, everyone, if you are in Greenwich at all, do go and visit the junk shop and say hi to Tobias. And you can also visit his website. I'll put all the details here on the screen. So thanks again for watching this video. I hope that you have a fantastic week ahead and that you get all your Christmas shopping and preparations done. So stay well, be happy, and I'm sending you lots of love from London, and I'll see you again very, very soon when I'm going to do my glass fish giveaway, thanks to Wreck Diver. So I'll see you for that. Take care. Bye-bye. Now, I don't think my squirrel friend is very far away. Squirrel! Here he is. Better stay away from the junk shop, little squirrel. You don't want to end up in a cabinet. You after a nut? Come on then. Come on then, let's give you a little nut. Give you a little nut. How are you today? How are you today? Yeah, look, a bowl of nuts and pipe bowls here, and vulcanite bottle stoppers. Okay, you know the drill. Oh. You want another one? Want another one? Here you go then. There we go. squirrel. Here he is again. Are you trying to get in the cat flap? Hey, it's a good job I can lock it from inside, or you'd be in here, wouldn't you? In a shot. Helping yourself to the nuts. Hey? What do you do with these nuts? Honestly. Want one more? One more. I've got to go and buy some more nuts this afternoon. I've eaten me out of house and home.